Good afternoon, I'm Malcolm Jordan and this is your midday news fix for Thursday the 19th of December. New Zealand has fallen into a major recession, with gross domestic product or GDP contracting consecutively for the third time in 2 years. New Stats NZ figures show GDP fell 1% in the 3 months to September. Lachlan Rennie has more.
The figures are dramatically different to the predictions from all the major banks of a contraction between 0.2 to 0.4%. The second quarter of 2024 has also been revised to show a major 1.1% contraction.
Meanwhile, Stats NZ has admitted Wellington job loss data has been inaccurate. Using data from the agency's business employment dataset, suggested 19,000 jobs were lost in Wellington City, comparing this September with last. Azaria Howell reports.
Stats NZ says some jobs were incorrectly allocated to locations, which made it seem like jobs were lost when they weren't. Infometrics estimates the actual number of jobs lost is closer to 2,000. Stats NZ promises it's working on a fix to revise the data and correct the inaccurate responses. It's also looking at more checks to stop this from happening again.
Expectation: New Zealand search and rescue personnel will hit the ground running in Vanuatu today. A state of emergency has been declared in the island nation's worst hit areas after Tuesday's 7.3 earthquake. Early reports have estimated more than a dozen people have died and hundreds are injured. A Kiwi urban search and rescue team had to divert to Noumea last night after their plane had an engine warning light. Fire and Emergency Deputy National Commander Brendan Nally says the team is a very experienced group.
These are all veterans, so that when they get there they can deploy quickly into a very unknown environment and make a significant difference quickly.
Uncertainty around whether a large gas supplier staying in New Zealand will benefit the sector in the long run. One of New Zealand's largest gas suppliers, OMV, will stay in the country. Its executive board's decided not to sell 100% of its shares. Analytica Director John Kidd says the sector needs continual reinvestment.
The real question is, are they able to keep on reinvesting, given that, I wouldn't say they're a reluctant owner of the assets, but they tried not to be the owner of those assets.
Thousands are protesting in France's streets ahead of 51 verdicts in the Chazelle Pellicot mass rape trial. Her former husband, Dominic Pellicot, has admitted drugging her and letting strangers abuse her over a decade. 50 other men are on trial for participating. Sky News correspondent Siobhan Robbins says Chazelle, it's led to a large movement in France calling for legal change.
Because at the moment consent isn't involved in French rape laws. They say that France is a patriarchal society and that it needs to start thinking properly about women's rights.
To sport, All Blacks and Hurricanes back Ruben Love will miss the start of the 2025 Super Rugby season following ankle surgery. Arsenal, Newcastle and Liverpool have all advanced into the semi-finals of English football's League Cup. Tottenham host Manchester United tomorrow to complete the last four. And an injury blow for the Wellington Phoenix forward Stephen Kolakowski will miss the rest of the A-League men's season after rupturing his left anterior cruciate ligament at training. I'm Malcolm Jordan. That's your latest news fix. We'll be back with the next update at 5 p.m. from the Newstalk ZB newsroom.